What it do, Israelites? Brother Judah Israel once again with a couple of words to say to everybody. So I'd like to thank our Father Yah for another blessed day, for the breath of life that He give us for free. So family, first I want to do is clear the air about something that I said Sunday in a message that I did when I was over in the park. The message called Charlie Kirk and curses being transferred and Three-Eye Atlas, what's going on Israelite family. It was something that I said in that video that I need to clear the air about. As far as educated people. I didn't know anything about this guy, Charlie Kirk. So I didn't know if he had a degree or not, but I wasn't putting down people with degrees who have a life in Yah. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I mean, hey, I have a scripture, family. It's in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 10. Okay? Now, listen up. It says here, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. So while we are alive, the word of Yah is telling us, because of Adam's sin, he got kicked out the garden, and his curse was that a man shall work to the sweat of his brow. So in the word of Yah, it is saying, while we are alive, whatever you find, whatever your hands find to do, do it with your whole might. Give it all you got. So whatever profession we choose, he's saying, give it all you got while you are alive. This is what we must do. I mean, some people choose to go in the medical field. You need a degree to do that. I mean, of course, I wasn't trying to kick on people with degrees. Of course not. They got lives in Yah. Family, I need to clear the air about this. I mean, in my family alone, I know at least 9 of my cousins who have degrees. One of my cousins have 2 degrees. You know what I'm saying? I have lawyers in my family. People who have business degrees with, large car lots in different states like Michigan. And these are my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? I will not be putting down my people. And they all love Yah. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of educated people in my family who have degrees. They're intelligent men and women of Yah who are awakened in this awakening. You know what I'm saying? Who have degrees. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm going to have to get down to the nitty gritty with this. I mean, because I've always been attracted to people with knowledge ever since I was a child. When I was a child, I was really quiet and shy. But I used to love going around adults and just to sit and listen. In my young mind, you know why I used to like doing that? In my young mind is because all these adults, they've been on the earth much longer than me. And I can learn something from all of them. I've always been that way. So people who have knowledge and education, I've always been attracted to people like that. Even women sisters who talk proper, because they're so educated, I always was attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to put down people with degrees. Family, of course not. You know what I'm saying? It's like people with degrees walking in the awakening and who are children of Yah with their education and their knowledge, of, grammar and, all this stuff that they've learned. It helps them to be able to express what the word of Yah is about. If they're a studying person, you know what I'm saying? If they like to study the different spiritual books full of wisdom of Yah and the Ruach HaKodesh, they become great leaders because they can, the way they articulate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you are educated and you are awakened, these people become the great leaders because they can help you understand exactly what they're trying to say to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing. I ain't knocking nobody with no degrees if you are a part of the awakening family. Of course not. I mean, when I was saying something about Charlie Kirk, I was like, no matter how much, even though some people was commenting like he didn't finish college and stuff like that, I don't care. That wasn't the theme of the video. That wasn't the high point of the video. That was just a little snippet part that I mentioned him. But the theme of the video was what I was talking about at the end. That's why I say the best for last, about Three-Eyed Atlas, and that possibly being, the host of heaven, what I'm saying, coming to rescue us from these nations. That was the theme. That was the highlight of the video. But I just thought I would say something about Charlie Kirk because he had so many millions of followers and stuff. And mind you, I said because those people who are following him, they don't have any knowledge of Yah and the things of Yah. You know what I'm saying? So it's easily for those people like that, to be influenced by somebody like him. We sound like he had it all together, knew what he was talking about, but he didn't have any edifying spiritual knowledge that he was teaching anybody. So his life was in vain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, it's like, a person could be, like he's full of words and worldly knowledge and stuff like he was, but he had no spiritual knowledge to edify nobody. So I'm saying a person like him, his life was spent in vain because he have no fruit. When he goes stand before the Father, and the Father asked him, where are your fruits? You know what I'm saying? What did you teach my children about my word? He's like this, he has no fruit. But if you have a degree and you are a part of the awakening and you're teaching y'all's word, I mean, it's like you have lots of fruit. I wasn't knocking nobody with no degrees, family. Come on now, man. I got 9 first cousins who went to college on football scholarships, basketball scholarships. I got cousins who are lawyers. You know what I'm saying? They got degrees. I love my family. I love my people. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing against nobody with no degree. Come on now. I was talking about Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? But I did say something like, education, they indoctrinate you from kindergarten through 12. That's what they do. By the time I got into high school and 12th grade, they was giving us stuff to, books to read like The Scarlet Letter and even 9th, 10th, 11th, like Romeo and Juliet, fictitious stuff. So when I was in high school, I'm like, if they trying to prepare, if high school is trying to prepare the young men and young women for adulthood, in my mind, when I was in high school and I'm in English class and the teacher, she's saying that we have to read, Romeo and Juliet, a fictitious story. I'm like, in what way is that going to help me when I become an adult? If I'm trying to get a job, how is reading Romeo and Juliet going to help me? That was my, what I'm saying? So it's like, and I wouldn't read that stuff, but as far as like, I even had some experience in college. I did myself. I was 20 years old. I went to Odessa's College of Beauty Culture. I stayed in there like 5 months, and I was actually pretty good in the book as well as working on heads. But I realized that I was just trying my hand at something because the year prior I had took the test to go to the Army and I passed it. And they told me that we'll be coming by your place to take you to go to Chicago to take a physical. And after that, whatever day you say you want to enter in the service, you're good to go. So I was excited, but I wasn't living with my mother. So I went home and then I called her the next day and was calling myself telling her the good news. Mom, I'm finna go to the Army. And she caught me totally by surprise. She wasn't happy for me. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh no. That's what she said. Oh no. I said, why, Mom? Why you feel this way? Wasn't nothing happening in Gary, Indiana. I'm trying to do something because I don't want to end up, on the streets doing nothing because there wasn't no jobs there. And if you didn't really have transportation to go out to the suburbs where the jobs were, and I didn't have a car there, I was 19, and then the buses in the city of Gary back then didn't go out to the suburbs. They do now, but back then they didn't. They just stayed in the Gary city limits. A lot of racism in Northwest Indiana. So my mother told me, she said, you look so much like my daddy, I'm gonna miss you. I'm like, oh, Ma, you don't want me to go? She said, no, can you just take up a trade or something? So you won't have to leave? I was like, oh man, you got me totally by surprise with that. That was her reaction. So, I said, okay, and then we hung up. I was sad, and then the recruiting officer came by that Saturday, like they said he would, and I just played it off like I wasn't even at home. You know what I'm saying? And so the next summer, I still was undecided about what I wanted to do since I didn't go to the service. And so my hair was kind of long. It was really long when I was young. So I could put a braid right here, a braid here, a braid here, 4 braids. I could braid my whole hair up in 5 minutes. And somebody saw me do that. And it was like, young man, you say you was, pondering what you wanted to do with your life. I just saw you braid your hair up in less than 5 minutes. You say you pretty good with your hands. Why don't you go to school for cosmetology? I said, what is that? In that beauty school. I said, that's for women and girls, ain't it? And no, men go to beauty school too. So I actually went to the school and I applied and I got accepted, got a Pell Grant, got a loan from the bank because I was 20 years old. I needed my mother to sign for me. And we did that. And I went to cosmetology school. Odessa's College of Beauty Culture. And I was pretty good at that. So I have nothing against nobody with no degrees. You know what I'm saying? But I realized that I didn't love doing hair, even though I was good at it. And so I dropped out of school after about 5 months. And then 5 months later, I ended up in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But no, family, I had to clear the air about this. Come on. I mean, hey, you you got a degree and you educated and you doing y'all's work. Come on now. I wouldn't. The word of Yah says, those who bless Israel shall be blessed. Those who curse Israel shall be cursed. That includes Israelites. I'm not trying to curse no brother or no sister who's an Israelite. My people. My motto is this, family. Do unto others as I will have them do unto me. That's how I carry myself in life. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's like on my YouTube channel, I mean, it's like if I see people awaken and they commenting, I don't want them to feel left out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to treat them as if I've been knowing them for years because that's how I want people to treat me. Because when I was in Sunday churches, it was so cliquish. So cliquish. And I was in 5 different churches over a period of 17 years. And I saw that in every last one of them. And so I got to thinking like, wow. So I was thinking like, Sunday is not God's Sabbath anyway. And so actually, the last Sunday church I was a deacon. And then I asked to be released. I didn't just leave. I asked to be released. I talked to the head deacon, and he tried to, talk me out of it for 2-3 hours. I said, okay, can you just think about it? I've been thinking about this for weeks. The bishop, he said if we have anything to say to him, nobody come to him personally, no more. Go to Bishop Caldwell or Bishop or the head Deacon Harris. I say, Deacon Harris, that's why I'm coming to you. You know what I'm saying? You're the head deacon. So we had a meeting, but he couldn't talk me out of it. I said, my mind is made. He said, well, what you gonna do? I said, well, I might, I'm just gonna see where the Lord lead me. You know what I'm saying? And after I had left that church, that was the 4th church that I've been involved in over 15 years. Okay, the first one was 4 years, then the second one, then the third. Yeah, that was the 4th one. And then when I had left, I was in between churches, and then I knew a pastor guy. When I was a deacon at that church before I left, there was another brother. It was another brother who had been going to school to be a pastor. And we would go out on the streets and do outreach together in the community. He's a brother from Africa. And so once he got his studies together and his certificate for, he was able to pastor his own church. So it was announced at the church that he would be leaving, going to start his own church. You know what I'm saying? So everybody applauded him and stuff. And he asked me, since we had, established a little bond by going out on the street doing outreach. He had a passion for that, and I had a passion for doing outreach and stuff. I ain't knowing about no social media stuff during them years. This was like 2014, 2013, somewhere around up in there. And then he asked me, could I come with him to his church? He asked me. I said, well, I'm gonna try to stay dedicated to this ministry right here. I say, thanks a lot. And, it's an honor. I appreciate you, offering me to come with you, And I think he wanted me as associate pastor. And so he said, okay. I said, I'm not saying no. I said, but right now, I told them that I was going to be committed here. And then I experienced so much after he left, my friend, Pastor Zoe, I was experiencing so much stuff. Yahweh allowed you to experience some unpleasant things, when he had something else for you. So I stayed 2 more years, and then I asked to be released. And so I was released. And then I think after about a month, I thought of him. And I called him. I said, you still got your church? And he was like, yeah. I said, what's the address and what time you start? And he told me, and I drove over there, and I sat in, so I started attending his church since I knew him. He was my friend. And he had about wasn't a real big church. Had a couple of handfuls of members, sometimes, 30, 40 people be there, and then sometimes it's just 10 or 20. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that. And so, I met a assistant pastor. His name was John, a brother from Chicago. He was about a year older than me. And then, like I said, I was attending every week. And all of a sudden, the guy who was the assistant pastor left and moved back to Chicago. And so pastor, my friend, called me, him and his wife, and asked me could I have a meeting with them. I said, sure. So, we met up at Old Country Buffet back then, and I didn't know what they wanted. And they said that they had been praying and about somebody filling the position of the assistant pastor, and they said they talked to God about it, and he told them, him and his wife, to choose me. And they said, that's why we asked you to have this meeting with us over some food. I said, oh, that's what this is about? They said, well, you accept. I said, sure. It would be an honor. You know what I'm saying? So then I became an assistant pastor. And I did that for 2 years. He would preach one Sunday, then I would preach. We piggyback, him one Sunday, then me. And I did that for 2 years. But I started experiencing some ungodliness, and I'm like, man. And he told me one day, all the people say that you really preach really, really good, brother. And I said, okay. He said, they tell me all the time. And then he said, well, I have some visitors coming in today. Some new visitors coming in today. It was my turn to preach. He said, can you tone it down a notch a little bit? I don't want to. I said, but, people's souls are at stake. We're supposed to be teaching God's word. I said, okay. But then after that, and then there was a couple more things that went by. It's like, I don't like to be dealing with somebody who's half-stepping and they're telling me lies, and I catch them in lies and stuff like that. And you're supposed to be the head pastor, and why can't you just be honest with me, man, and just be honest? You know what I'm saying? We're men of God. Let's just be honest with each other. But that was just really hard for him to do. So I resigned. So that was after 2 years. That was 2016. So I had started a Sunday church from 1999 all the way to 2016. So that's 17 years. And then I Googled on my phone, because I was on Facebook back then. I saw some Hebrew Israelites, and I started, befriending them and asking them questions, because I knew that we are Israelites because the Spirit had told me way back in the 80s when I was a teenager. And so I Googled Hebrew Israelite churches in the Minneapolis area, and 2 numbers popped up. So I went to drive over and visit one. I didn't like what was told there, and it was like, you gotta come to class for 30 days before you can even visit Bible study on the Sabbath. I said, well, we supposed to be the people of Yah. So I called the other number. I said, what time you guys have a Bible study? It was like 12 o'clock on Saturday. You're welcome to come. I said, I am. So that was surprising, because they was like, come on over, brother. You're welcome. So I went over there, and then I was, I was visiting for about a year before I joined because I didn't know how they felt about things like the Holy Spirit and this and that. So I just kept visiting. And then I got baptized over there in 2018. Then I became a member. And then come to find out, they don't believe in the indwelling of the Ruach HaKodesh. They don't believe that. They didn't call themselves a camp. They never had nobody outside on the corners like a lot of them other camps do. They didn't have nobody doing that. It was like a Saturday church, a Sabbath church. And they used the same names as they do in the Bible. They say they go by the Bible from cover to cover, but inside the scriptures, it teaches you that the Ruach, lives inside of the believers, but they didn't believe that. I said, wow. So that was one problem I had an issue with. And it was just like I experienced in Sunday churches, cliquish. The cliquish stuff was in the Saturday church, the Hebrew Israelite Saturday church. When the feast days came around and they didn't make no announcement and nothing like that, like when the Feast of Weeks and stuff come by and they didn't make no announcement to let everybody know, because that's what we supposed to do. We the people of Yah, right? And they would wait till everybody leave, and just the people who was in their clique, they whispered, we're having a feast, we're having a feast. Everybody going to the park like to their cars. They ain't made no announcement. They letting everybody get out the church, and they just gonna keep their little clique in on the feast. And I noticed that. I said, well, we supposed to be the people of God, the people of Yah, Elohim. And why are they, acting like this? The word of Yah says we will be recognized as Yahushua HaMashiach's disciples by our love for one another. By our love for one another, family. So that's why I don't leave out no brother or no sister on my channel. I want you to feel welcome, because that's what y'all want us to do. Okay, now, I hope I cleared the air about I ain't got nothing against nobody with no degrees, okay? You know what I'm saying? You teaching Yah's word, you're able to sail the ship better if you're educated. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how to say everything that you're trying to get across to the sheep. So it would help a person in their ministry better if they're educated. So please, that's what I want to clear the air about that. And like I said, I have a little experience in college. I ain't got against nobody with no degrees. Come on now. I was just talking about Charlie Kirk. All his worldly knowledge, he has no fruit. Okay? So his life was lived in vain. That was not meant for nobody in the awakening, family. Come on now. But anyway, I was just watching another video, family, and somebody made a comment on one of my videos, but I was at work earlier today. And somebody said, okay, what about the 7 comets? I thought somebody was just trying to be sarcastic and funny. But then, you know what I'm saying? I went around on TV. I'm cleaning up. I'm working. But then I came home. I see this video. And they are talking about 7 comets have entered our solar system. And somebody made a comment about we the people are the solar system. Now, if you don't understand what our solar system is, our solar system is the sun and all of the 9 planets that go around it forever, and the moons. The sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Those 9 planets that go around our sun, and all the moons that go around the planets that have them. Earth got 1, Mars got 2, Jupiter got about 18, Saturn got a whole lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So that's our solar system. When we talk about the solar system, our solar system, that's what they're talking about. Our sun and the 9 planets and all the moons that go around it. You know what I'm saying? And so, he wasn't, whoever make the comment, I thought it was just somebody being sarcastic. You know what I'm saying? Because, he was like, what about the 7 comets? Because I hadn't heard about those 7 comets. You know what I'm saying? And so I get home, I see this video, and they said that 3-Eye Atlas had made a detour. It's coming toward the Earth with 7 comets, family. And they say at the speed that they're going, they should be here in 42 days. That will be October 31st. Now these objects, they are spirit, family. They can disappear if they want to. but they're choosing to let us see them. This is what I was hoping. Instead of going around the sun, like they were saying, it's going to be on the other side of the sun from the earth. And my hope back then, because that's the way it seemed like it was going, was that once they got back there, it transformed and made a beeline toward the earth. So before it got to the sun, they said it's coming toward the earth now. And it was like, this could be the brand new awakening or something, a brand new beginning for us from 2025, or it could be our end or something like that. So I'm so happy because I know this is spiritual, because nothing on earth could send messages or do anything faster than the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. 3-Eye Atlas sent messages toward the earth at 211,000 miles per second. More than once. It was constantly sending million gigawatts of power at that speed. You know what I'm saying? These are heavenly beings, family. We are finna be visited. We are finna be visited. And it is unheard of to have 7 comets in our solar system in any one year. You know what I'm saying? That is unheard of in the history since they've been keeping up with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as much as I've been offered to the stars in space, I ain't never in my life ever heard of it. Us having 7 comets in our solar system at the same time, and they're flying in formulation, and they're flying in formation with 3-Eye Atlas. They said it's headed toward the earth now. It's headed toward the earth. You know what I'm saying? Rocks don't do that. Big giant comets and asteroids, they don't have a mind. They're just ice, rocks, dust. You know what I'm saying? And they move because of the what you call it? The gravity of the sun. You know what I'm saying? The sun's what you call that? Hold on. The sun's gravitational pull is what causes Halley's Comet to come around every so many years, because the sun's gravitational pull, this is the sun, this is Halley's Comet. It comes around and it stays in our solar system. It just keeps coming around because the sun's gravitational pull has a hold on it. But they saying 3-Eye Atlas and these other objects, what they're doing, the sun has no gravitational pull on them. They are spirit, family. They say they saw one object near Venus, millions of miles away from 3-Eye Atlas. You know what I'm saying? That distance ain't nothing to anything in the spirit, family. They can close that distance like it ain't nothing. They say they saw one of those objects, a so-called comet, over by Venus, the planet Venus, the second closest planet to the sun. And they said all of a sudden it disappeared. And then they said when it appeared again, it was millions of miles away, more closer to 3-Eye Atlas, and it did that in the time it would take you to fix a cup of coffee. Millions of miles, family. You know what I'm saying? They move at the speed of thought. Right now, if they're coming toward Earth at 180 something thousand miles an hour, whatever, these comets in 3-Eye Atlas, they're cruising. These are spirit beings. If they wanted to get here today, they could have been here already. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. Oh my goodness. So please, family, I do have another message to share in a couple of days. I will be coming from the Lost Scriptures. But please, family, please don't let, I guess I have to define what I'm saying and break it down, what I'm saying, so it won't be no discrepancies. You know what I'm saying? No, family, come on. I ain't got nothing against no sister, no brother educated with degrees, you know what I'm saying? And plus in the awakening, you know what I'm saying? Like our brother Big Judah, he's been to college. You see how educated he sounds. He can help you understand. He's all off into the spiritual. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. We need teachers like that. And Brother Moriel, he's been to college. Yeah, how they are so well versed and how they articulate things. You know, that's something to be desired. That's like, you know, right on, fellas. That's what we need. Somebody with education to help us understand, you know, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So people with education and degrees and stuff, when they're in the awakening, that helps us sheep to be fed. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what he's doing. Come on, family. Don't let the enemy make you think that I'm against. Come on, man. I love my people, man. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about that dude, Charlie Kirk. No, you know, he got worldly knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? But he ain't got no fruit. He ain't edifying nobody with nothing spiritual. So it's like his life is lived in vain. And then people was making, a lot of the brothers and sisters was making comments about the 3-Eye Atlas deal, the theme of the video, and, you know, the transition of the curses coming off the Israelites unto our enemies and those who hate us. That was the main purpose of the video. But I just had a little tidbit about Charlie Kirk, and then some people was commenting, oh, I went to school with Charlie. Man, I don't care, man. If you went to school with Charlie Kirk, I don't care nothing about him. You know what I'm saying? I don't care nothing about him. People was like, you know what I'm saying? Just, I was deleting a lot of that stuff. I don't care nothing about our enemies who hate us. You know what I'm saying? He was just used as an example because he just got killed. And I was saying, you know, when we was under the curses, we had leaders who were assassinated. So, you know, it's like the curses that were on us, now they're on y'all. But please, family, you know, things got misconstrued. If I didn't articulate as well as I should have, I apologize, okay? But I love my Israelite family worldwide. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the more educated we have in the knowledge and the awakening, the better it is for us sheep. Because they can articulate what they're trying to say to us better. Y'all knows what he's doing. This is all y'all. Come on now. Don't let the enemy, you know, try to pit us against each other. No. I'm not the one. I'm not no weak link. The enemy will never turn me against my people. Ever. It ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Okay, family. All right, now this one is called right here, Clearing the Air and 3-Eye Atlas. And those 7 objects, they say the Comets, but they are aircraft in disguise, all of them. And they said that they are heading toward Earth, and they should be here in about 42 days. That will be October 31st. We're finna get a visitation. All right, family, y'all stay tuned for my next video. So until next time, y'all bless every last one of you. One love and shalom.